Yo. I'm like Charlemagne. No, I'm joking. What's happening? It's Jason Robinson, Trueprint Pod, and I got my man with me. Introduce yourself, brother.
Kyle Wilson, here we go.
All right. So we started this, man, with the goal one to just get reconnected. A lot of our brothers from Boise, we played a lot. We played together, but we're from lot of different places in the country, and we've spread out since then. So we typically had these conversations in the group chat, and now with podcasting kind of jumping up, and also just our wanting and willingness and ability to talk, we figured we start what hopefully will become somewhat of a legacy platform
And we
in this
and we've been
space.
talking
So
about this for a couple of years.
yeah, we've
So
been talking about it for a minute. It's
we set it up,
yeah,
and then to actually follow through. This is actually following through with it, and we got a lot of stuff coming in the future. But definitely, this is the start of getting it going.
It's just the beginning. I told Dub, I consider myself a producer, and a part of the big goal of being a producer is getting it done. And at least we're getting it done, and we'll see what comes of it. But today, just to kind of familiarize yourselves with us and kind of go down memory lane a little bit, I want us to both share, if we can, Dub, our Boise origin story. So we played college football
Definitely,
together at Boise State. K Dub's a little bit
definitely,
older than me, but K Dub, if you want to go first and tell them how you kind of
definitely,
ended up
definitely.
at BSU.
I got you. Long story. I'm one of the few East Coast Broncos. I went to public high school, so Piscataway, New Jersey. That's where everybody knows where I'm from. I didn't have many scholarship opportunities or offers, and so my senior year of high school, I literally had to play every game like it was my last. And so after the season, after we won our third state championship, my family made a highlight tape and we sent it out to the top 50 schools. I remember like yesterday. It was like putting all in the UPS envelopes and all of that. It was really like that. I spent a lot of money shipping them out. Stuff ain't free. And
Yeah,
I got a few responses, right? And Boise State was one of the few. I had two one AA scholarships at the time and two Division One scholarships. I'm from Piscataway, New Jersey. Rucker Stadium is right here in our hometown, and I ended up taking a few recruiting trips, and Boise State was um, that was my choice, and that was probably the first choice I had growing up with the parents that I had of me as an adult. And ultimately, I got a good feeling and made a good choice to go across the country and take the opportunity to go over there and play and be part of the team. And it turned out to be one of the greatest choices in my life. And so I'm always thankful to my parents for setting me up. But choosing colleges was my decision, and they didn't necessarily know which it was until how it came. So that experience was awesome for me, just because I actually trusted my gut. And so to look back on it, 5 years later or so, it helped me just as a person. And that turned out to truly be one of the best decisions in my life. So my story is my story. And I actually come to meet a lot of teammates who had a very, very similar story that are from different places. So
yep.
my story would be that obviously I think I was pretty good. A lot of people, hindsight,
I
think
agree.
you're
I
pretty
agree.
good, but in actuality, when that and stuff was going on, it wasn't the case, and I didn't have a lot of scholarships, and I didn't have opportunities, and I did get some bad information from some people and coaches. I made it to Boise State, and everything is new. And so you go there, and then the way Boise State is, or the way it was, you have to work your way up. And so the time that I got there, I was just one of the guys. And when I left, I was a captain and left with a bunch of championship teams that I was a part of. And I will always be appreciative. So that aspect, I would say I was a underdog. Your simple underdog story, and you find a lot of those. And so I wasn't heavily recruited. Do I believe I should have? I think so, but that's not for me to say. And so I think I withstood a lot. And if you hear my story, nobody's going to have my story and how I did it, but everybody's going to have a different story, and it's very similar to mine. And that's what I find out a lot of all my real good friends and guys I went to college with that we all have in common. and that we come from tough backgrounds, whatever that may look like, and not ideal situations. And a lot of us are not strange to hard work, and a lot of us are very smart. And so I would see a lot of us are very successful to this day. And that's one of the best things that happened to me was putting myself in that situation where it wasn't comfortable. But I love how I grew from that, and I always be thankful to Boise.
Yeah, man, I always thought it was crazy, like playing with you, knowing where you were from, and then doing my own independent history on the region as far as what Piscataway meant to and Rutgers meant to college football. I'll get into my story in a little bit, and it might make sense why I care about those things, but I just always was fascinated by that, man. And honestly, I took great pride in that, like having a teammate that is from the birthplace of college football. You know what I mean? Like this is what we do. This is our industry. This is the vocation that we have, and we have a teammate who is literally from the place that is recognized as the originator of it. So
So
I always took
my
pride
high
in that.
school, right, Piscataway High School, the Rutgers athletic stadiums, their football and basketball stadium is in Piscataway, New Jersey.
Right. So
So literally
again,
right there,
I
we get the
always
same newspaper.
yeah, I always felt like there was something special about that, and you touched on it a little bit, kind of like this this settling of a lot of in this collection, if you will, a lot of underdogs. You know what I mean? A lot of people who got to Boise, even our coaching staff. I feel like, and we'll probably touch on that in future episodes. But like, I felt like even a lot of our coaching staffs kind of carried that same um, kind of story, if you will. So I know that's dope. So for me,
Definitely.
man, mine was a little bit different. My dad was a high
University,
school coach, university, high school. K
Los
Dub loves my
Angeles.
high school.
Talk to
K Dub
him.
loves my high school. I got a great
Yeah,
story about
talk
when
to
K
him.
Dub
I
came to my
know.
high school.
You got some guys
So
from there.
University High School, the U. Yeah, the real Coach Rob was at Locke High School before me. Coached players like Sir Parker and Darian Hagan, and eventually coached a player that Bronco fans might know, Deshaun Cabone. So that was my introduction to Boise State. I used to wear a Boise State shirt around the house when I was a kid. I didn't even know where it was. It was just a shirt that I got from my dad because one of his players had brought it back for him. And around my sophomore year, started to kind of as most guys start to separate themselves from the pack. So that's when schools started to come around. Ironically, Boise wasn't one of the schools that came around. I had a lot of bigger name schools and lower name schools. Boise just wasn't one of them until my senior year. I had a teammate named Orlando Scandrick, Pop Warner
Hmm.
teammate, who got Coach Yates kind of on my radar. I believe that's how it started. And they started putting him to the school. And I had, Utah was an option, Reno was an option, Washington State was an option. Some other schools kind of wanted me to play the gray shirt, wait and see game a little bit. And bigger name schools though, like UCLA, Cal. And I just decided, man, I wanted to go to BSU, man. And for me, a big part of it, and Kata, we've talked about this before, was I wanted a chance to win. Like my dad, I mentioned my dad was a coach. So my dad's record, that's why I was looking around. My fault. I wasn't just spazzing out. My dad's record, I'm gonna go through it right now because it actually just got published by someone yesterday. My dad's full record was like 174 and 140. Um, and get it right. Yeah, so my dad's full record was 174 and 140 over 27 seasons, right? Now,
Hmm.
I note that because it's a Hall of Fame career, won 150 plus games, winning record, but never won a city championship. And that was the thing that my family had been chasing, was like we is still chasing, to be honest, is
Hmm.
a city championship. So for everything that had been done, I just felt like I didn't have and my family didn't have a chance to stock the trophy
Hmm.
case with championships. So when I would get my recruiting material from Boise, I'll never forget, it was so they started recruiting me late. And if you
Hmm.
guys remember back in the day, early is letters, late is
Right.
media guides, right?
Right.
So when the media guys start coming in, all I saw was these trophies on the front, which is great marketing by Boise State marketing. I've always felt like we have one of the top marketing departments
Hmm.
in just showcasing our story. But the top of the media guide was just all the whack trophies, and they were just
Hmm.
stacked up. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh no, I can't ignore that. I can't ignore that. And I tripped to Utah. And then took my trip to no, a trip to Boise first.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, Coach Pete will remember this. I was on my Boise trip the weekend that Hawkins left and went to Colorado. So I
Wow.
flew in Thursday night.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Hawkins was the head coach. Woke up Friday morning for my meeting. Coach
Mm-hmm.
Peterson's the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that was my whole thing. So I got a chance to watch him go from, OC that week to like
Mm-hmm.
sitting in the
Right.
main chair. By the time I did my Sunday exit meeting, he was in the main chair. Me, Jeremy Avery, we were some of the first people to talk to him in that main chair. Um, and then I went to Utah on my trip, and I ended up committing to Boise while in Salt Lake City on my trip to Utah. So that's kind of how I ended up there. But just like K Dub, I'm thankful that I did. There were so many people that I just felt like, whether it's Jerron Johnson, Antoine Murray, obviously Titus Young, one of my high school teammates, K Dub, Ellis Powers, Rex Life. I mean, I can name dudes all and on, but just
Mm-hmm.
friends, like guys that I was just with 2 days ago, I talked to this morning, like my guys, Brandon Thompson, all the
Mm-hmm.
stuff we did. So I can't say I talked to a lot of people in my line of business that play college football, play professional football.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't pick it no other way, man. I wouldn't pick it no other way. I think we had like the most amazing of an experience at an amazing time with some amazing people. And a part of it, Dub, was what you said about like that underdog and that chip on the shoulder type. Everybody had that. Like I felt like even to touch on my visit that weekend, I felt like that was one of the things that impressed me about Coach Pete. I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
My dad asked me because he was like, my dad had been through this a million times, and he's like, man, like, you sure? And he's like, what? I only took 2 trips. I had 5 scheduled. I canceled the rest
Uh-huh.
of them. He was
So
like, you
wait,
sure?
hold
And
on,
I
hold
was
on,
like,
now, hold on. Let's get some numbers. How many scholarships
yeah,
did you have?
bro, I don't know. I didn't
Yes,
count.
yes, you did. Okay, so you had
Let me tell
multiple.
yeah, I had multiple for sure. I had more visits than I had. More than visits for
Well,
sure.
okay, hold on. All right, let's figure this out. You,
Yeah.
you had 5, 10.
I had at least 5. So I had Boise, I had Utah, I had Washington State, I had San Jose State, I had Reno. Okay. And that's just our D1s, right? Like, and
Uh-huh.
again, UCLA wanted me the gray shirt.
Uh-huh.
Cal wanted me the gray shirt.
Wow.
UW was also interested
Mm-hmm.
in me gray shirt. And I was originally gonna
Mm-hmm.
go to UW, but I kind of like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, I kind of just kind of gave him the cold shoulder, something about the staff at the time I wasn't really rocking with.
Mm-hmm.
So I had at least like I remember when I was getting ready to schedule my visits, like it was like 7 to book 5, right? You
Right.
know what I mean? And some of those
I
back
mean,
then,
not hey, not really, but I'm listening and I'm understanding.
hey, I'm in LA. I'm in LA, Dub. You know what I
I'm
mean? And I
with you.
will
I'm
say,
with
I,
you.
I will say I benefited. One thing my dad did, and he was a genius for this. Um, man, I played quarterback in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So 4-year starter at quarterback, ran the option, and my dad showcased me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like he told me, like you're going to have a ball every play, and people are going to see how creative and how athletic you are, and people are going to want you. So
Mm-hmm.
I did my thing. I was offensive player of the year in the
Mm-hmm.
city, and first team defense as well. But then the other thing
Mm-hmm.
that helped me out, I think, truly, and I talk to my kids and some clients about this now, like, you know, so I'll pause there. Rep Takers is my 7-on-7 kind of like recruiting NIL deal that I kind of work with my kids with. And the reason why I call it Rep Takers is the double entendre. One, we take reps. Like at Boise, we got to get our reps. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if you at the front of the line, get out the way.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
second, right, also like at Boise, if we take reputations.
Mm-hmm.
So if you Oklahoma and you
Mm-hmm.
like that, we play you
Hey.
and we
Uh-huh.
beat you, we like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now, and I got that. That started for me when I was in
Mm-hmm.
high school. I played against a running back by the name of Marlon Lucky. He was the number one
Uh-huh.
running back in the country. He had moved to LA from Texas, and
Mm-hmm.
I think he got driven out by Katrina. I want to say Katrina was a part of that. If I'm not mistaken, I might have my years off, but I think I'm
Uh-huh.
correct on that. Something brought him to LA from the South, and I'm talking about he was cold. Nebraska fans, y'all know Martin Lucky, number 20, starting running
Mm-hmm.
back for y'all, 6'1", 220, looking crazy. Well, I put him out the game 2 years in a row, and I think that helped me out a little bit. You
For
know what I
sure.
mean? Because
For sure.
it was like, yo, this guy. I had a moment, and that's what I always tell my
Right.
kids now. Like, get your moment when you see those guys on your schedule that have those stars and have those accolades.
There you go.
Go
Yeah.
get your moment, right?
Mhm.
Because to be fair, a guy like me, I mentioned all my good stuff, but the bad thing was I had knee surgery in 10th grade.
Mhm.
So a lot of guys didn't want me at all,
Mhm.
and it wasn't like a very basic clean surgery. It was kind of some weird bone on
Mhm.
bone, Greg Oden type stuff. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like everybody was rocking. So I really had to work hard to get
For sure.
those, visits, if
Yeah.
you will. So, but yeah, man, that was my story with it. And I
I definitely want to touch on that in the future
go
because
ahead.
just the pipeline of coaching and stuff,
Yeah,
being proactive, and also what coaches can do to help out. Because I know for a
yeah.
fact that there are some that are in positions and they're not really helping out, and so I know the
When you
focus
talking, what, what,
can
what you
be
talking about though? You talking about high
even
school
no, no,
coaches,
like the
college
high school
coaches
level
too?
for sure, and even the
Yeah.
youth, but just coaching to win championships rather than coaching to develop and progress and help the kids be better people. So along those lines of getting recruited,
Oh, that's gonna be
and
a
I
fire
know, and
episode.
right, and I know majority of that right is educational purposes should fall on the parents. But what I'm also saying is there is coaches and people in positions of power or teachers and stuff that are in the middle, and some of them could be used a lot better or not being used at all. And so
Mhm.
some of those, I just always want to promote to the parents that you got to be proactive in this stuff and can't always rely on a coach because some of the coaches don't know no better. And some of the
Right.
coaches aren't reaching out to colleges and aren't even keeping in contact with previous schools that they've dealt with, even if some of the kids made it out of the school. So it goes a long way of just the schools being a buffer in line or an institution to help. And as we know, right, that's not always the case. There's politics.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff involved, right? A
A
lot of
lot.
different factions. So not here to debate on that stuff. But what I am going to say is as far as coaching, coaching matters. And shout out to the coaches who take it a step further and help with recruiting and help these kids life outside. And so the ones that have potential, or at least you have to reach out, and I'm going to say it because not everybody else is saying it and nobody's going to say it. So if you think that the coach is expected to do all that, that's not so. You should be hopeful that you're in a situation where you have a coach, but a lot of this is definitely coming from self or
Right.
from parents and the
Right.
family's sake.
Right.
And so shout out to
Sure.
your dad and your family for knowing better and actually doing better because you guys doing this is way ahead of your time. And so we caught it on the tail end of maybe some bad advice from some coaching and was able to sort of rectify that, sending out tapes late. But even in my case, right, think about it. You just went through your timeline. When I got to mine, I had to play every game that senior year like it was my last.
Right. Right. Right.
That
Right.
12
Right.
game cut
Right.
up, we
Right.
then sent
Right.
out. So then this is 2 months later. A lot of teams are filled up. It's too late. We like you, but
Man,
now
I'll
you.
say, man, one thing my dad don't get enough credit for, and I think it just has a lot to do with being. I'll just be
Cause you
straight.
you
Cause
just laid out a incredible blueprint right there.
no, the true print. You feel me?
Yeah.
It is what
So
it
that's
is.
it.
It is what. And but my point is, and I was going to talk about just, and I'll glaze my dad for a second here, and then we'll move on. But like, um, because it is a thing, right? Coaching, influence. Some people don't. We talked about this. We want to give people credit, and I'm gonna give first time I give my
For
dad
sure.
some flowers. I guess we'll give it.
100%.
You know, there's there's sometimes a stigma that comes with being an African American coach,
Hmm.
and the style. And my dad, he's from Haynesville, Louisiana, Pine Hill to
Hmm.
be exact. For those of you that know, um, congrats. For those of you that don't know, you probably never will find out unless we take you down there. But um, it's a very humble place, and it's a very simple place. And when it's not a whole lot going on. And my dad came out of there, came to LA, built a Hall of Fame football career running the Wishbone, right? So now you take a African American coach who runs the Wishbone. It's very easy for the football community to say, "Oh, he's basic or rudimentary," or X or all these other things. But one thing I always look at is and think about with my dad. My dad always had a plan for every player,
Mm-hmm.
whether they knew
Oh,
about it or not. Whether
so
they knew
he
about it or
wasn't
not, or
playing
where they
daddy
at,
ball,
he
huh?
always had a plan.
He
So
wasn't
what now?
playing daddy. He wasn't playing daddy ball,
No,
huh?
never. My dad. So touch on that, and everybody that's played for me knows this. For 2 years in a row, my dad recruited my replacement at quarterback because he wanted me to focus on safety. So he was trying to get a replacement for me. I just kept beating him out because I wanted to be my dad's quarterback. But it was every year he tried to bring a guy in. And that is what
Mm-hmm.
also built up my competitive fire. I got used to just, man, I'm beating everybody. I
Yeah.
gotta beat people out to impress my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and that made me a better player. So I want to give my dad some credit there, EC Robinson, Coach EC Robinson, and to your point, K Dub, about having a plan. I can say my dad. I saw my dad orchestrate and manage dozens of in-home visits himself,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of coaches don't do that. You know what I mean? Most
Right.
coaches don't do that. So I'll leave that there. But yeah, man, kind of staying on Boise, and moving on here a little bit to another layer of it though. You know, we got a lot of like anniversaries coming up. I know Big Clay just got put into the Hall of Fame. I think it was last year, 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the reflection on your impact as a player at Boise State? And we got the two Fiesta
Mm-hmm.
Bowls, we got
Mm-hmm.
the draft picks, we got.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you think about when you reflect on the impact that we had as a team and you had as an
Mm-hmm.
individual as a player too?
Um, Definitely. Well, looking back, right, it's a just a reflection on time. Time passed. I was a young adult at that point. Definitely grew into a man. Right now, I'm a middle-aged man, so I have a lot of years to reflect. I have kids now. I'll be 40 in a couple years. So just different perspective as an older adult now. So now I live on the East Coast. That's another one. Talking to people, older people, right? Gambling comes up. It's on ESPN now. So
Right.
that's a big topic. But one thing that comes up talking to everyone who even just plays for fun in a way, they loved us. So whatever that meant at the time, I give it credit to how good we really were. And so I never really thought about that stuff when I was playing. But again, right, looking back on it, seeing the landscape of college football now, how teams are, how coaches been transferring, kids are now transferring. Um, we won a lot of games and we have some awesome memories. And we never took any shortcuts. And so I remember a lot of hard work. And as a result, we won a lot of games. And if you just go back and check the numbers, it's not the same. And so we used to we'd had no problem selling out stadiums. When you win, they show up. We played almost every single day of the week. However, whenever, we got it done. And so um I hate to juxtapose now, not to say things are different, but to just give credit to where credit is due, if you just look at the time period and the win percentages, because men lie, women lie, numbers don't, we were excellent and really excellent where it probably won't get done again because if we bring up what was actual, we're gonna bring up all these extra circumstances of this money, that money, this roster, they're leaving here, this came from
Yeah.
here, this and that. It's always something. But what you can't deny is what is actual and during that time period.
What's
And
done?
so
What's
during
already
that
done?
time, 100%, 100%. So it's not the point that people gonna take stuff whatever type of way. You could take it whatever type of way. I'm not gonna feel bad for anything that we did back then. And why should we? And so it's not I just know things are different now and it's hard to win sort of at that percentage.
Yeah.
And so
It's
you
it,
can
it
call it what you want, but what it is factual that we were really that good.
Well, it's
And so
nuance, right? It's nuance. It's context. It matters.
so
Not
what I
to.
say is right when you ask about it, people we question, we have conversations, and it's a lot of respect.
Yeah.
So from a lot of different situations, fans, casual fans, competitive fans, they loved us back then, and so you can
When
put
you
two and
say
two
competitive
together.
fans, when you say competitive fans, what are you
Well, it's
saying?
legal. It's legal to bet now.
Okay.
They promote it all on ESPN.
I'm about to say, 'cause I never saw a fan on the field, so you must have
I
been
know, but
competing on that. I know
right.
what you
And
mean. No,
so
no,
again, we
the money
used to
line.
have when we were playing, we were from a different set of rules that
Right.
were governed by the NCAA, who made the rules and enforced the rules. And yes, some of them were contradicting. So we're just years later, but obviously we have firsthand knowledge of what was going on back then. Not in like that, but just we were part of that time period. And so to have a no view or vantage point because we were actually students, looking at it post tense, hindsight, it's and I'm not gonna say it's head scratchers, but it'd be very, very hard to do today, right? It would just be my opinion.
Well,
So,
I don't want to. I don't want to leave a cliffhanger too much on that part. But
mhm.
you said like we had insight into it.
Shout out to Pete Rose.
I have a great Pete Rose Boise State story that I will share, and not today. I also have a couple other interesting stories that I stumbled into on the golf course, um, that I will not mention today. But I do think that it was a lot more. You know, there's a different perspective to sports gambling that we offer from being back then, right? And I think that is what you're kind of talking about. It's like just it was a different time, and because it was legal, or sorry, illegal rather, you know,
Mhm.
we were arguably more popular because we were like the we were the gamblers' best friends. You know what I mean? Like we were not their best friends because no one knew them. At least I
Mhm.
didn't. But I mean, we were their favorite players rather, and favorite
Mhm.
team because of how we operated within the
Mhm.
money line as far as our scores, etc. So, no, that's
Right.
interesting.
So right, and to not get it confused, right? It
Right.
is credit to the institution or the school who was, if you just counted numbers and looked at numbers, we did numbers really well. So to have that stability, I think there's some type of hierarchy, right? But coaching matters. I think at that time there was some very good coaching. Athletes matter. I think it was some very competitive athletes. I think everything was put together really well. And so fast forward, there's time periods to now, things are different. And so
Yeah.
as people, because we talk about it. So here we are.
So, and I'm gonna share my piece, but before I get to that on the impact, I want to kind of put some context to what Dub was saying as far as records. So from 2005 to 2010, which is pretty much our tenure there, Boise State
Oh, you
as a
mean
football.
the both Fiesta Bowls?
I'm talking about that whole span. Yeah, both yes,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah. I'm just.
But the combined record, and it's Chat GPT. All my kids that I coach, I've coached GPT. I stay on the GPT.
Uh huh.
So hopefully this is right. I didn't proofread it, but the combined record sounds about right though. 70-9. Winning percentage 88%. Two undefeated seasons, 2006 and 2009. Two Fiesta Bowl victories, five conference championships, and we finished in the AP top 10 three times: '06, '09, and 2010. We were on all those teams, the two of us. Um, the other thing, and Kata mentioned that I also want to give those guys their flowers too, because like you said,
Hmm.
and it's easy for players to talk about in hindsight and us to act
Right.
like it was all of us. It
Right.
was a lot of us, but we
For
also had
sure.
some great coaching,
One
right?
hundred percent.
So Chris Peterson,
100%.
Brian Harson, okay,
Definitely.
offensive minded guy,
Definitely.
Justin Wilcox, Pete
Definitely.
Kwiatkowski, who's a Boise State legend,
Yes,
and one of the
sir.
best defensive lineman coaches probably, ever in my opinion. Coach Choate,
Hmm.
Jeff Choate, current head coach at University of Nevada, Reno.
There
You
we
have
go.
Marcel Yates, who was our defensive back
100%.
coach, who I
Yep.
think is probably,
One of the
if
most
not top
important,
five, if
for
not
sure.
top five, top three, top DB coaches of our generation. When you look at the
100%.
type of products he put into the NFL from a school like Boise
He was
State,
getting them out.
with low recruiting budget, to
Hmm.
get guys at Boise State and to turn out that many defensive back draft picks, it has to say for something, regardless of how you feel.
100%.
Coach Kugler, you guys might remember
Hmm.
him. Coach Kugler wasn't there too long, but he was a part of that
Offensive
first
line.
Fiesta Bowl. Offensive
Hmm.
line coach ended up coming back recently to help us and kind of
Hmm.
consult in the past years when we had our success. Um, Dan Hawkins as well. I didn't get a chance to play for him. You did, but
Hmm.
I know Dan
I did. I had a
Hawkins did
season.
great things there.
Hmm.
I think about, even guys that were GAs then that have now grown to be like elite coaches. Juice Brown, right? I'm sorry,
Hmm.
Juice Brown. Julius Brown, the Juice, Coach Juice, right? At
Hmm.
TCU now. Wes Nurse, who was a great
Hmm.
Bronco, now doing his thing at Eastern Washington. Um,
We
and other
got we
than
got
that,
guy
right? Think about the
Brandon
locker room.
Thompson, Wazoo.
No, I'm getting to the players
Yeah,
now,
okay,
right? I'm
my
getting to the
bad, my
players. So
bad. Hey, hey.
now you got those are just the guys who coached us, right? Now you start talking about the players who are on that team that are now coaches. So you got Deron Johnson, coached at Boise State, now at Long Beach
Hmm.
Poly.
There
Okay,
we
you
go.
got Brandon Thompson, now at Washington State. I mentioned
Hmm.
Julius Brown. You got Kyrie Marshall, also at
Hmm.
TCU. You got Andy
Hmm.
Avalos, also at TCU. Okay, you got Kirby Moore, head coach at Washington State. Okay, you
Hmm.
got Kellen Moore, head coach New Orleans Saints. Okay,
Hmm.
you this was all in one locker room in Boise, Idaho.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? For 1 year. So I want to make sure as we kind of launch this and talk about our experiences individually, and independently, that we communicate that we know that
Hmm.
it took all of us, and it did.
Definitely,
And
definitely.
as you hear these stories, we all, everybody I mentioned knows that it took all of us as well. So that's something that I always think about when I reflect on the impact is of people that caused that
Right.
impact, or created that impact rather. I think the other thing that I think about too, and this cup, no, I use this today intentionally. This is my undefeated 14-0 cup, from Playbook Products. That's the first shameless plug, free plug. I don't have anything from them yet, but Playbook Products, shout out to y'all. I bought this cup. It's my second one now I've had over the last 20 years. But what this cup is it's a commemorative cup for the 14-0 TCU Fiesta Bowl. Okay, but on
Mhm.
the other side, it has the Riddler fake punt that we ran to kind of to go ahead. And funny story on that play, um, we had run a fake punt versus Hawaii a couple weeks prior to that I caught. And it was like my play. And I had a 29-yard catch, got tackled, didn't do enough. Let my teammates gave me hell about it. They called me
Yeah,
slow. I should have
you ain't getting
scored.
the end zone. It's all
I didn't get
good.
in the end zone. Nobody liked it. But I got 29. I got 29 yards though. So hey, how many of y'all can say y'all had a catch in college for 29 yards?
There we go.
Okay. So everybody would talk about that. Who got the reception? Yo, I played offense
Hey,
and defense
there
in
we
college.
go.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I play a two-way player for real, high school and in college. All right.
Uh,
No, but the funny thing about that play was we had it scripted for TCU, but it was it was a spread punt look, and we couldn't get the look right. And I came up during the game. I just picked up on some indicators, and I came to the sideline and told Coach Choate, the special teams coach at the time, I was
mhm.
like, "Hey man, if we kind of adjust this and open me up out here, it will create a void in the middle, and we can come back the other way." And Choate, like in the heat of the battle, he and I had a rapport. He trusted me, I trusted him. Um, Obviously, but he trusted me, he was willing to listen to me. It made sense, but it was also, I mean, this is the Fiesta Bowl. It's a high
Right.
stakes game. It's like,
Yeah.
no matter how much of a player's coach you are, at some point, you got to kind of like figure out when you're not going to listen to players because you got to go out there and
Hmm.
win a game. But so a couple more opportunities came about, and Choate kind of like eventually went to Coach Pete and we ended up running the play as I designed it, and it worked, and we
Mm-hmm.
won the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned that because that's one thing. Another thing I reflect on with Boise State: how many programs do you know that would give the player the agency to grab the whiteboard, draw something up,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then how many coaches would have, just quite honestly, the
Right.
nuts
Mm-hmm.
to take that play to the head coach
Mm-hmm.
during a 13-0, 14-0 campaign, right?
Right.
Only special people, in my opinion. And that's one of the
For
reasons
sure.
why I have so much respect for Coach Choate and Coach
Mm-hmm.
Pete,
For sure.
because
For
it's
sure.
you never know where greatness can come from if you're listening,
Mm-hmm.
and they always kept those things open. And I think that's a part of the different, and that impact is stuck with me. I try to coach the same way. I try
Mm-hmm.
to live the same way. But I
Mm-hmm.
always think about that, man. Like, yes, we got the stone outside the state capitol. We got the new stadium. We got the new uniforms. We got the skybox, the Stukel Sky Center. We have the new but the things that I really think about the most are the moments, right? And the mindsets that help
Mm-hmm.
create and build all those things. Because if it wasn't for those decisions here and there, we might not have a Stukel Sky Center. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
We
For
might
sure.
not have, and it further cements the legacy. So
Are you talking about
yeah, man,
the school buildings and the parking garages and
all of that,
definitely
the
the come
infrastructure,
up? I know that
the
looking back,
infrastructure.
the school looks totally different than what it used to be.
When we got there, it looked like a junior college.
Well, I mean, if you know the history prior to it was.
It was. I had nicer buildings from my high school than the
That's what's up,
original.
man. See, and looking back on it, you're right. I don't even know if a lot of people actually know the history. So we'll keep at it. But this is
Yeah.
what it's all about. Because I know things there when you go there now. I went there a couple years ago. Um, they have it all. So to think that we're lacking, it's not. It's not. Everything is comparable to anywhere else. It's just the people behind the sweatsuits, behind the
Period.
gym shorts and the t-shirts. That's the difference.
So kind of wrapping up here, one thing we talked about too, K Dub and I offline, we're going to tell a lot about our sports stories, obviously Boise stories. That's
Hmm.
our kind of our meeting point, but we want this to also, be about ball too, because that is who we are, and also members of the culture. So I told K Dub we'll test out. I'm kind of talking about just some other stuff. So today, um, topical current event. All right, the Jay-Z concert. All right, so I need Kyle Wilson, and I'm gonna give you mine. I got it ready because I brought it to the top. But I need your East Coast, okay, expression of how you feel from just how you feel from the weekend that we all saw online. I don't think we went, but I know we all experienced it
All
online.
right. I got you. Just I'm gonna go on record and say, being from New Jersey and coming to the West Coast, I was probably one of the original G Unit sneakers, G Unit
Yeah,
tank top. And I know we talking about Yankee Stadium, but it's still 50 and it's still G Unit. All right. And you asking that, and this is how I'm feeling. Okay. So I got that same energy from back then. I think Yayo brought up some breaking news that the G Unit sneaker is coming back out. I'm buying it. I will have it. And like many things, it's just something about I like 50. That's just my guy. Never met him, but you know what? I think I got a good intuition, and so this is going on. What is this going on? Almost 20 years or so. We've grown, but a lot of things have changed. A lot of things are still the same, and
things
so.
stay the same.
But no, we messing with. I fool with Jay. Jay is one of the hardest out. You one of the few that might know more lyrics than me. But as we age, right? Like fine wine, perspectives change, and Drake, Drake,
We ain't talking about Drake. I asked about the Jay
I
Z concert.
am. I am. Okay? Drake, he is good. Okay? We can take it how you want to take it. He's not tough.
OVO
Hey,
dub, OVO
hey,
dub. Is this an
it
owl
sound
behind your
it,
shoulder?
it
Is that an
sounds
owl?
good. It sounds good. Hey, it sounds good, huh?
So hey, I'm gonna have a horse in this race. I don't care. I'm on the West Coast. I'm staying out of this. Kendrick took care of all of this discussion as far as I'm concerned. But I will say this about the weekend. I didn't get a chance to go. Maybe not obviously, but I toyed around with the concept. I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, as Kyle mentioned. Um, you know, uh,
How you
sometimes
feeling?
how am I feeling? I feel like
Bars or no bars?
I mean, the bars is the. I mean, what are you talking? New bars or old bars? You talking about new bars?
Is it?
You
Is
can't
it?
get
I'm
rid.
just saying. Over time, is there any slippage? Roots picnic? What you thinking?
Mm, I said the weekend. I said the Yankee Stadium. You talking about Ruth Picnic? You
I'm
talking
just
about Ruth
going.
Picnic? So, hey, no, I thought it was, but I thought it was super dope how like watching it. And after I got over my FOMO, it was like, yo, this dude and State Prop has now come out with him. Bleak has come out with him. AZ, Nas, not I don't think AZ, I'm thinking about something else, but Nas has come out with him. Jazzo came out with him. Um, and more importantly though, and this is where I think about us missing a few pieces here and there, and really just one
hmm
big piece. By
hmm
and large, the crew is together, and
hmm
you saw like in Reasonable Doubt, he talked about. I believe it was Reasonable Doubt. Yeah, and every dude in your crew is rich. Your crew is rugged. No one will fall because when we do, we'll be each other's crutches. That's what you kind of see at that
hmm
weekend, right? Bleak holding his own, Kodak, Lenny S holding his own, Biggs holding his own, um, Tata holding his own. Everybody that seemed to come from the Rock Nation conglomerate and Rockefeller conglomerate, outside of Mr. Dash and Dame, you kind of see them kind of thriving, and I think that's beautiful to see. And then the other thing is like now kind of watching the meet. This is where I'll kind of bring you up. So Myth, ironically, how you feel about Yayo, and
hmm
you and Myth are a lot alike. So Memphis Bleak had an interview on Breakfast Club where I guess Yayo saw him in LA, and Yayo was like, "Oh my God, why you got your chain on in LA? You crazy?" And Bleak told him, "I'm gonna die with my chain on." And I thought about
Hey.
when you came to LA for the first time. So this is how we'll end this. And this is why I put this story here. So spring break of 20, maybe 2028 or 20 08, maybe 08 or
uh-huh.
07. Might have been 07. Might have been 07 because after the Fiesta Bowl, or
That was
after the next
Poinsettia
year,
Bowl, right?
after the Poinsettia Bowl. So it was 08. So we decided K Dub was gonna come to LA, right? So he's like, I'm gonna come to LA with my West Coast family. And the whole time, I'm not gonna hold you. I knew who you was setting up with. I knew O was running it. So I was like, before we even left, I was like, man, I know Dub. I hope Dub know like this how I go. Like, I don't know. We might go somewhere and they might just have a different plan. Like I'm from LA. I'm from where, everybody you gotta check in. So
Uh-huh.
I'm like, and everybody acting like, and I remember I talking to everybody before, and they like, oh, it's no big deal. And I'm like, y'all, this is K Dub we talking about. Like we're less at this point, we're only a decade removed from the East Coast West Coast rivalry. You know what I mean? Like you every bit of East Coast.
uh,
So I'm like, so we land, right? So I think it was me and Jerron. We because we were the ones most concerned for you.
uh-huh.
And me and 2-3 was like, man, K Dub, like something about your chain. He had his lion chain on, big chunky. He probably got a picture. We'll post it on the website or on this or someone edited figured out. But he had his big chunky chain, and I'm just like I'm same thing. I'm walking. I'm just big bro. I'm like, man, this thing, man, when he gonna tuck it though? Like, because I don't even feel like having. I don't even just don't put me in that box because I
uh,
now want to. it's too. So I tell Dub, I don't know if I told him or Jerron told him, but somebody was like, K Dub, man, you need to like be careful with your chain. Like, think about at this because we landed at this
Uh-huh.
point, and now we about to
Uh-huh.
get in the car and move through LA. And
Uh-huh.
he like K Dub said, if I come with my chain, I'm leaving with my chain.
Hey, he right.
which
And
would be
what
chain,
happened?
which
What
he
happened?
left with his chain. He left with his
Okay.
chain.
Hey, we got another story. You remember downtown Boise?
Which one? Which
Where we had to
one?
walk. We had to walk back for the chain. This is pretty. We was with Ellis fooling around one time. We'll talk about. We'll bring it up for the
Yeah.
next one. That was another.
Well,
We'll label
and we
that
might have to bring
gold
on
chain
Ellis
moment.
for his account of that one because it sounds like somebody got snatched.
It was a
No,
fun one.
but no, this is again, this is dope. I'm glad we did it. This is officially episode 1. We'll see how it pulls together. But appreciate y'all. Eventually we'll have some content up. We'll have our IG up, website up. Feel free to engage in the comments, share it with your folks. We plan to do this at least, every other week, hopefully every week if we can get a good cadence down through the football season and beyond as well to see what we get, man. But this is K-Dub. Thank you. This is dope. I got
Appreciate you,
some.
J. Ryan.
It's funny now. I'm starting. We're getting the flow. I'm thinking about so many other people we can
Uh-huh.
call and include
Oh
into
yeah,
this,
we're gonna
but
get on it.
it's
We're
gonna
gonna
be
get on
it's
it.
gonna be fire.
We're gonna
It's
get
gonna
on
be
it.
fire.
Here we go.
All right, man. I'll see y'all.
All right, appreciate you, bro.
Yep.
Good looking.